Well, hello. I'm aware in my last video I was kind of crashing out about everything that happened on the 3rd with Caleb's banner being announced and everything. It was all just so upsetting to have the first real-time Infold breaks their silence not be about Valco. I think I have calmed down somewhat, but it really did take me a couple of days before I could feel a bit better about Infold and the whole situation, not gonna lie. Like in the past, before the 3rd, every time something big would happen and I would see all these people having these big reactions, I'd kind of maybe get upset, but it would wear off pretty quickly and I'd go back to being hopeful and confident about Valco coming back. Like, I was following everything as closely as I could, and the things I saw gave me so much reason to believe in Infold bringing Valco back. But what happened on the 3rd, it really shattered me, and I kept seeing so many people posting about how this isn't such a bad thing actually, or Infold is actually doing this for good reasons for Valco, or just be patient and trust Infold. And one post I saw even claimed that actually Infold is a victim just like us. At that point, I was like, all right, I've seen enough. So yeah, all these people glaze Infold just added insult to injury, and it took me days before I could even entertain the idea that Infold isn't filled with stone-cold idiots. I do just want to say, though, that I know I too have defended Infold in the past. I totally get it now, how that can be so irritating to some, but I really do believe that I had good reason to defend them. You know, all the hostility and harassment from so-called fans who clearly aren't in their right minds, facing reputational ruin as their public image was slandered in China, being reported to government authorities over a video game character, etc. So I thought it was only fair to cut them some slack, and now, I don't know. I really don't know anymore, guys. Everything seems so confusing. It's like the rumors started up again, but this time much, much worse. I haven't been able to find a coherent voice on any social media platform after the 3rd. Maybe it's just my algorithm, but everyone I see is saying different things. Some people are saying we need to be firmer and put more pressure on Infold. Others are saying, no, don't listen to those people. They are antis. And that instead we should continue doing what we've been doing and being kind. And in the midst of all this confusion, I've witnessed several content creators I followed deciding to let go of their pages or to continue with their pages but stop producing Love and Deep Space fan content because it just became too much for them and it just didn't align with what they believed in anymore. And I get them. I have considered whether I should continue with this channel, honestly. I'm so exhausted and confused, and all my confidence in this movement and Infold has been deeply shattered. And I honestly never even wanted to be a content creator on YouTube or anywhere. I was never on social media. Literally, when Valco got cancelled and the boycott started, I decided to contribute to hashtags and stuff by making videos and posting a daily count of boycotting days on my Instagram and Threads. I told myself I'd do it just until Valco came back, but like, don't get me wrong, I'm still hopeful, and a part of me still definitely feels like there is a chance of him coming back, and not even a small chance, but a pretty good chance of Valco being returned. It's just that I don't know how to explain it. Let me get all poetic and metaphorical here for a second. It's like my heart is a flower with all these petals, and little by little as the days drag on, these petals keep on falling, but for a while, the few petals that fell off weren't enough to ruin the beauty of the flower. Until the 3rd of August, when a whole bunch of petals fell off, leaving only a few petals hanging on for dear life. And I don't know how much longer these few petals can last. I just feel like when it comes to situations like the one we've been in regarding Valco, there is this window of opportunity where the company has to make a decision and act fast, otherwise people's hearts will slowly fade away. Like, I still care about Valco. I still feel my heart squeeze when I see videos of him pop up on my screen. And all the other things I have been fighting for still matter to me immensely. Artistic integrity, not letting hatred and bullying win, not letting people's hard work and effort go to waste, etc. But When you begin to feel like no matter how hard you scream, you're still not being heard, it gets hard to keep on screaming. First, because you start to doubt you'll ever be heard, so you reason, what's the point in screaming this hard? But also because screaming that hard for that long just isn't sustainable for your vocal cords. And I think that's the biggest thing I've seen us global fans be upset about after August 3rd. As global fans and as Valco supporters, it's how unacknowledged and ignored we all felt. I don't mean to be the person always drawing comparisons, because after all, comparison is the thief of joy and all, but with the bullies, it took them 8 days to be heard and achieve what they wanted. 8 days, from June 22nd to June 30th. And I know there were so many other factors at play. I know it wasn't just the bullies that caused Infold to make the decision they did. I know they tried to fight for Valco for a while, and I know the bullies used much dirtier tactics than I hope we Valco supporters will ever use. But it is still a sore spot when I think about that. 8 days compared to over a month of what's felt like screaming into the void. I'm sorry if I'm being so negative. I don't mean to trip you up if you are working so hard to be hopeful for the sake of your own mental peace. I understand how hard it is to be in a hopeful headspace, only to have someone in your space suddenly saying all of these negative things that get you down, even if like the other person isn't doing it to be malicious. Like, I'm really not trying to be malicious here. I don't want to fake positivity when I don't feel it. I want to be honest, and if I'm being honest, I just really don't understand why Infold couldn't have made a neutral statement regarding Valco first before they released the Caleb banner. Something along the lines of, we have seen the feedback from Valco supporters as well as the feedback from Valco opposers. We are taking all of your feedback into consideration regarding that matter. Thank you all for your feedback. And of course, they could have added any kind of flowery language they wish to make it land better. But I truly feel like I and so many other boycotters would have been incredibly satisfied with even that. Like, no, Valco wouldn't have been back, and no, it wouldn't have been a statement saying Valco was coming back, but it would have been something, and that's all we wanted, just something from them regarding Valco and the boycott. To me, what really hurt and upset me the most was that when Infold was silent, I and so many others believed it was for valid reasons, and I'm not saying it wasn't, but we thought, okay, maybe they're under a soft ban from the government, or it's probably because of legal proceedings that they can't speak to publicly, or the situation with the antis is really volatile right now, so that's why they can't talk. But the whole August 3rd incident showed that they were okay to make public statements. I don't think they would have been able to post about the Caleb banner on all of their socials if they were under a soft ban or any of the other reasons I listed above. They would have just silently released it in-game like they did with the Zayn's heartfelt gift. And even with Raphael's new myth that they promised would be revealed in July, they never made any kind of public statement announcing its postponement. If I remember correctly, it was through customer service that we learned Raph's myth was delayed. So all this fed into our beliefs that they really couldn't just speak out. At least for me, that's what I believed. Otherwise, why wouldn't they speak about these two big events, Zayn's banner and Raphael's myth? So to see them finally show that they're able to break their silence and make actual official moves on their official socials, but to have their very first post completely ignore everything Valco related was disappointing. And I have seen a number of theories about what could be going on, why Infold did what they did. I've seen people speculate that maybe they're just trying to get back to business as usual, to establish a sense of normalcy and routine again, and the reason they didn't mention anything Valco related was in hopes of not stirring up the antis again. Others say they released Caleb specifically because a lot of the haters kept complaining about not seeing new Caleb content in a really long time. So they kind of wanted to give the haters what they wanted in order to shut them up or something. I don't know. I've seen suggestions that Infold is technically still under a soft ban. They just aren't able to mention Valco, but they can talk about any of the other love interests. Many CN players are convinced that Infold is subject to unfair market competition and that competitors are the ones behind water armies trying to take them down. I don't know what to believe anymore. I really don't, and I'm too tired to do what I usually did in the past, which was to follow up on each theory and analyze them to see what truth they held and how likely it was for each one to be true. All of this really made me realize that a lot of what I and so many have been banking on has been speculation. We say things like, oh, they want him back just as much as we do. They spent so much money on Falco, or look at the money they'll lose if they don't bring him back. Of course, they'll bring him back because he's the one who will make them so much money, and they'd be blind not to see that, or whatever else we tell ourselves. And like I said before, I do truly still believe there's a good chance of Valko coming back. And I do think a lot of the arguments for why it's so likely Valko will be brought back are good arguments. I really do think that. So the people who are hopeful, I do sincerely believe your hope is not misguided. I just feel like I need to take a step back from all this. Personally, I feel like ever since Valko was cancelled, I've had this really obsessive mindset over this whole boycott and this whole movement. For weeks, I wake up and the first thing I do is check social media for the latest news on Valko. I spend most hours at work lost in thought and just perseverating over the whole situation, trying to make guesses about what Infold's doing and going back and forth in my head about Valko coming back. Then I come home and I plan videos, which is time consuming. It involves gathering all the latest news, often collecting screenshots, chasing down links to articles written in China, writing the script, recording, editing, creating thumbnails, and then posting the video. And with the daily boycott countdown, I spend hours editing each one that I post, and I honestly didn't even really get any views on Instagram or Threads. Not that I was doing it solely for views. I personally enjoyed keeping up with the days while we were boycotting. It gave me an energy boost to look back at each day behind me and see how resilient I'd been to keep going, but it hasn't been sustainable. I think I haven't kept up with the boycotting logs since the 3rd, and since the videos aren't a daily thing, I think I'll still continue to do them, though I think I won't make them as often as I have been. I know there have been those of you who have left comments expressing how much these videos help you, and I'm really, really grateful for those people who have said these things because, I try my best to make these videos. So I'm sorry to be letting you down like this, but yeah, I just can't go on like I have been. It really is such a shame because I do see how keeping Valko's name out there and stuff is immensely important to the movement. So I feel bad about lowering my contribution, but sometimes it is important to reconsider priorities. And right now, everything in me says I need to prioritize myself and my mental health. This has just been a difficult time with the boycott, and even in another fandom space that has meant so much to me for years. There are just things happening that make my heart cry. Like, if you're a stay, especially a Lino bias like me, you're probably also going through it with the whole news about Lino leaving soon for his mandatory military service. So yeah, it has not been an easy time. I'm sorry I didn't have many or any answers in this video, if that's what you came here for. I also didn't have any hopium for you. I'm sorry. I'm wishing all the best to everyone out there who has fought and is still fighting for Valko. I really, really, really hope that all Valko mains will one day get a chance to reunite with him. It's really unfair what happened to all the girlies who took one look and just knew that Valko was the one they were waiting for in the game, only for him to be taken away like that. As a Silas main, my heart really does go out to you. We all deserve to experience the guy who makes us feel the best when we play the game. And it's so messed up that this happened and how it all happened. So yeah, I'm still here. I'll still be making videos whenever I get the time to and I feel like I'm in the right headspace to do so. But yeah, just take a break whenever you need to, guys. Don't be afraid of taking a step back if you need to. And I'm wishing you all the best. Bye, and thank you so much for watching.